live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello, 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 hello. It's one of those days where alert, alert, alert. The strobe lights are going to go off. Yeah, any second. I was alert mostly to myself. Susan, watch your eyes. The things are going off. Susan,
what things are going off?
The strobe. They're having their monthly.
Oh, no, close your eyes.
It hasn't happened yet. They're late. They're supposed to start right on the hour, aren't they? Okay, so I'm waiting. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
This weather is like, August was fall, and now September is August.
I know, and I got so used to it. I mean,
Didn't
I was
you love
really
it?
enjoying keeping my windows open.
I know.
And, wearing a fleece.
I know. A lot of people don't agree with us, but
no, I like my preferred temperature would be 50 to 60.
Oh, that's even lower than me. Really?
Oh, okay, 60s up to 70, but I start to get hot in the 70s.
Me too, but 60 to 72. All right. That's my favorite. I mean, the air is so thick that when, you drive into the city, the downtown, the whole upper half is obscured by just humidity.
Yeah. I know. I can. I mean, I see it here. When I'm out and about, because I'm a really nice view away from the city, so I can
see
the tops of everything, and it's sometimes it's crystal clear and looks like the Emerald City, and sometimes you can't see it.
Where did I read the other day that the beach, first of all, people scoffing at people who call Lake Michigan's beaches the beach, right?
It was the article. It was the New York Times travel section about Lake Michigan, and the guy who wrote it, that was what his wife said to him when he said he grew up on the beach, meaning Lake Michigan, and she scoffed and said, "That's not a beach."
And then,
which made me instantly dislike her.
Right, me too. But he stayed married to her, so obviously we got to, relax. It's not a divorceable offense. So,
no, and she did take this incredible trip all around the
lake. But,
which is a couple thousand miles.
That lake that you wouldn't want to, that is as...
It's 75 miles across. It's an inland sea.
It's huge. And it's daunting, and there are many, many big ships at its bottom as a result of how daunting it in fact is. But but they said that the beach, and I think this is true, the beach there it goes. The beach right outside of, where the Drake Hotel is, the Oak Park Beach, I think is what it's called. Right there in the
Oak Street.
Oak Street, right. Is, he said, the greatest, what did he say? The greatest urban beach in the world. The greatest urban beach in the world. And I think of all the people who go to Chicago who've never been on that beach.
Yeah.
It's just, white sand and glorious. Looks like an ocean. You wouldn't know if that it wasn't an ocean. Except, as he pointed out, the blue of the lake is so much bluer than an ocean. It's sort of startling. I just wanted to say all that. Why did I want to say all that? I don't know.
I don't know, but it's actually a good article. They take their 3 sons and spent their summer vacation driving all around.
Well, but they
the lake.
didn't. He was going to drive all around the lake, and they petered out. That's how much of a schlep it is. So he petered out and fell back from Mackinac all the way back down to Ludington, Michigan, and then he just took the ferry across the lake to Manitowoc, just south of Green Bay, and then went back south to Chicago. So he didn't even go to Green Bay. But he did mention Green Bay in saying that the glacier that created the Great Lakes dug so deep. These things are like that at its deepest point, what he said in Green Bay, it's 1,000 feet deep. I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either, but that's why we're the one of the
we
used to be the largest inland port.
Right. I think Pittsburgh thinks it's the largest inland port. Well, it might be. It's larger than Green Bay, maybe, but we're more inland.
Right.
You wouldn't think something in the Midwest was an ocean port. You
right.
Just it doesn't make sense. You think, what? But it is. Okay.
Yes, and Lynn and I have been in Green Bay. I'll take that out. Have been in Green Bay and have been driving down this road that goes along the river and driving right along a large ship that's coming through, and you just pull off and you walk onto this bridge and you can literally touch the damn ship. Do you remember the day we did that? No.
What do you mean? We did?
Yes.
Oh, do you mean down by... Yeah. That was
right
a few
where
years
the
ago.
road takes the curve.
Yeah, it takes a curve up to Monroe. Yes.
Right.
And that was a big ship. Yes, it was. So, yes, I do, Susan. Sometimes I scare myself by not.
I was going, oh no, and I immediately doubt myself.
I know.
Wasn't that her standing next to me?
I know, and my son has taken to saying things like, Mom, you left the keys in the freezer again. I'm going to kill him. Wait till I do. Okay, so, coming to work yesterday and today, I have seen a total of 3 Ben Carson for President bumper stickers.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see Trump bumper stickers.
No.
But I've seen Ben Carson bumper stickers. I've seen no other candidate.
He's sniffing up Trump's rump.
Well, what an image that was. Trump's rump. Someone psychoanalyzed him in the New York Times today, and said that, big personalities, big men often have this rosebud moment in their lives to explain what made them into assholes or something. I guess that's... Rosebud being, of course, the name of the sled
right.
Yes. Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane.
Yes. So he tells a story that Trump has told of being a teenager and with his father, who was a big developer, at the dedication of, I forget which bridge in New York, maybe the Verrazano, I don't know, some huge bridge that at the time was the longest suspension bridge or whatever, and how Trump remembers it. He tells the story as it was a rainy day, and people were, he said, the guy who built this thing was some Swedish architect who stood there and was given no acknowledgement at all, while politician after politician took the stage and amid all kinds of personal, aggrandizement and all this stuff, and how Trump remembers that was a definitive moment in his life when he thought, I am never going to let anyone make me a sucker. He felt that the guy had not gotten his proper due and just sat there humbly and took it while all these politicians. And so just a fact check, it turns out it was a sunny day. So his memory has played tricks on him. And while the guy was acknowledged by Robert Moses, he was not acknowledged by name. It is true. But this guy, the guy who Trump says is was like a loser because he allowed to be himself to be treated like that. That he was
because he didn't insist on his due.
Yeah, I mean, he was a renowned whatever. But that's what Trump says made him think, I will never let anyone not. And the guy says, so no wonder Trump puts his name on every little thing, because this guy's name isn't on that bridge, or if it is, no one can see it.
Right.
So, I don't know. So Trump and now Carson and all this will be forgotten in a year, I think. Although Trump is starting to scare people. Much to our delight.
It's all fun and games till someone loses an eye.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is Trump has steered clear of saying any nasty thing about Ben Carson. But now that Carson is tied him in the polls in Iowa, let's see how he turns on the surgeon. Oh, God. So,
do we know why he's a retired surgeon? I know very little about him.
Well, I remember him being like a big to-do. I think he was the first. Did he separate Siamese twins in utero or something? He did some heavy-duty stuff. So he was a leading surgeon of some import. And the fact that he was African-American only made it, more wondrous. So he got a lot of attention. I don't know when he decided to have a political career and when he came out as a whacked-out Republican. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure now that he's pulled even in the polls, we'll all have our lessons.
We'll all learn all about it. I
Yes.
know. I'm trying to pace myself and only learn as much as I absolutely need to know.
Yeah. Remember learning everything about, oh God, what was his name? the last time around, the black businessman who
the pizza guy.
Was he pizza?
I think so.
Okay, well, remember, we all knew. See, now we can't think of his name. Yes. And then Michelle Bachmann. We knew everything about her.
Yeah, but we can't forget her name.
And she scared us half to death. And her husband, the gay guy. What was his name? The businessman. Okay. Well, as a person who leaves my keys in the freezer, I cannot be expected.
Yeah, I know. Names. I can't remember the names of people that I do know and like. So
that is true. I sometimes have this momentary panic when somebody I know very well, an absolute blank. Absolute.
It happens to me all the time. It happens to me all the time. I practice. I literally practice if I know I'm going to meet people. And it doesn't matter if like they are my best friends. I have to say their names.
Jeez.
It's terrible.
I know. That's terrible. And
I think it's an anxiety disorder more than a memory disorder.
Probably is. Mostly anything that's...
It's social anxiety. Yeah.
Mostly anything that's sort of like quirky about you or me can be traced directly to anxiety. Don't you think?
I do think. We're wrecks.
We're total wrecks.
But speaking of which, our mother managed to motor into Chicago and out of Chicago, and did it very well.
I know. And see, she says that you've come around now, and you're going to get off her back about jumping in the car and driving long distances. So just relax. Until
there's very little I can do about it.
I know.
She demonstrated that she can do it.
She can do it, right. We have a call. Hello?
His name was Herman Cain.
That is right.
Thank you.
Well, I want to ask you, I want to tell you something.
Yeah.
I was listening to your show last night, and you were talking about the house at 100 Watkins, remember?
Oh, do I remember?
Did you read the email I sent you? Maybe you didn't.
Yes, I did. You're telling me about I got a lot of emails. Now, yours was about the location.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Susan,
I mean, that house and another location, say, in Parks Chapel.
Oh, my God.
Or Mount Lebanon.
It's
worth $750,000.
It's $3 million. $3 million. Susan, there is a house that was featured in the newspaper Sunday that is the most extraordinarily beautiful mansion. I mean, inside, you cannot believe it. Stained glass ceilings in the kitchen, dating from when it was built in 1903. I mean, this thing is beyond belief gorgeous. The asking price, $449,000.
Well, go buy it.
That's what I was thinking. 14 rooms, 3 bathrooms. What?
The lot it's on, it needs a bigger lot.
Yeah, it's not a huge lot, but it's a corner lot, isn't it?
Yes, it barely fits on the lot that it's on.
Oh.
And the borders right in the road and Alley F. And the house is, maybe $150,000 maximum in the area around it.
I know. So that's why. So a house that really, if you took it down and sold off all the wood, all the marble, all of the stuff inside, so you would come up with more than $499,000.
My wife was in the house when they were
when
it was being renovated. They were painting it, and the painters let her go inside, and she said the house is beautiful.
It's beyond belief. There was pictures in the paper. I cannot believe it. Susan, I do want this house. I'm thinking I can just get the house and then make sure somebody else gets it and pays more for it.
Well, and the weird thing is I drove a cab in Pittsburgh, and I drove the people who lived in the house to the airport when they were leaving.
Oh, really?
And they said they rented the house for $1,600 a month.
You're kidding.
No.
Well, don't buy it. Just rent it.
No, they were on their way to California, and I drove them to I drove them to a hotel, and everyone stayed in the hotel.
But that's not these people. The people who are selling it.
No.
This is the people they bought it later. They bought it in 2003.
The original people who built that house back in the day, I think he was a music teacher.
Oh man,
music. Because there's been numerous articles about the house over the years, and I think it was a music teacher who originally built that house.
God, it's gorgeous.
It is a wonderful house.
Oh my God! But it's a travesty that could be sold for under $500,000.
Well, I live less than 500 feet from it. Well, I owned a house there, so.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh God. It's Susan. It's about it's a hop and a jump from downtown Pittsburgh.
Wow.
I mean it's beyond belief. Okay. And everything in it has been maintained. Everything. So.
Well, I say buy it and make it into a B&B.
That's why I already had that idea, but I don't want to have a B&B.
Well, I say buy it and hire someone to run it as a B&B.
And do you think that's a wise business decision?
Well, why not? If it gives you pleasure, then
No,
yes.
It'd make me an anxious wreck. Never mind, but I do like it. Oh, God, it's beautiful. Okay, so what are we talking about? Oh,
I have no idea.
Me either. Margie sent me this. A woman in Miami who died last week at the age of 62 requested in her obituary, in lieu of flowers, donations may be made to the Bernie Sanders presidential campaign. And that is not unlike Elaine Fidrich of New Jersey, who earlier this month wrote in her obituary, "In lieu of flowers, please do not vote for Hillary Clinton."
Right. A lot of people are doing this.
In April, the family of a North Carolina man wrote that, quote, "The family respectfully asks you that you do not vote for Hillary Clinton to honor our beloved departed." You can't ask people not to do that.
No, I think that's,
it's funny,
once it's
but
sort of funny, but after a while, it's really inappropriate.
Yes, it is. That is totally inappropriate.
Right, and I would respond by sending flowers.
A friend of our son's, Roger writes, is still an apprentice plumber, but already has his favorite story. Matt was sent out by himself to unclog a toilet in a suburban home. I don't know where this is going, so you'll just have to come with me. The husband and wife led him to the master bathroom and explained that no matter how much they used the plunger, the toilet just wouldn't flush. Matt took the toilet apart and found a wad of condoms that had collected over time, creating the obstruction, making the toilet unusable. It was an easy fix, and when finished, he told the couple what he found and suggested not to flush condoms anymore. The husband said, "Well, that can't be. We don't use condoms." Do you think that's true?
Well, it might be true, but...
it sounds like an apocryphal tale. It says here the wife didn't say a word. Well, that means, the implication,
right,
obviously, is that she's screwing around. Do you think that's true?
Here's the thing. I don't care.
Okay, that's good. Good answer. Good answer. Jeez.
So in because I can't stop, I still cast my eye over the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, or what remains of it.
Oh.
And there's a great big to-do in St. Louis suburban county school, where the students are walking out because a transgendered girl, she's a girl, wants to be able to use
the bathroom.
The bathroom. And there's a walkout at the school the
kids on the wrong side here. I mean, usually high school.
The kids are on the wrong side.
Yeah,
Every place else, the kids are leading the march, and here they've all decided this is just a guy who's trying to worm his way into the girls' bathroom.
It's just a guy who wants to hear the girls tinkle. Jesus Christ!
And there were over 900 comments, and they were all
supportive.
Neanderthal apologies to Neanderthals in nature.
Well, then there you go, Susan. Yet another indication of your move being the correct one.
That's right. That's right. I mean, almost to a comment, they refused to acknowledge that there was such a thing.
That this, well,
and
it's
to the extent that it was acknowledged as a disorder.
Yes.
And should be cured. And I said, you mean the same way that they
used
to try and cure gay people?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just horrifying, and and I can't. So
Yeah, you're mixing it up. It's stupid. Why do you even talk to him?
I've walked away now because I could feel my blood pressure going up.
Jeez, Suze. All right,
but it did. I feel every time I do that, I feel so much better about my move.
Exactly. But speaking about Neanderthals and let's move and schools. Let's move to Gilbert, Arizona, where several parents are up in arms because a Republican congressman, a guy named Matt Salmon, like the fish, Matt Salmon, was giving a civics class to second graders at Santan Charter School, second and third graders. And for some reason, he started to talk about vetoes and what happens when he decides that there shouldn't be, well, I don't think he's a senator, he's a congressman. He's telling the kids about vetoes. And to cite an example, he turned to the second and third graders. He turns to the current situation in Iran. And he said to the little kiddies, do you know what a nuclear weapon is? Do you know that there are schools that train children your age to be suicide bombers?
Can we just shoot this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Okay, so one of the fathers said about his daughter's reaction, after school, my daughter was very upset and concerned and said to me that actually she didn't even know what suicide was, but she was very afraid. Do you believe that? The congressman's office has not returned the calls for responding. Can you imagine?
No, it's well, yes, I can. I can imagine that these politicians have their heads so far up their rectums that they can't see who they're talking to.
Yeah, they're doing their
only concerned about themselves and their own internal workings.
Yeah, she's just doing her own. Oh my God. Well. Politicians. All right. Well, Suze, so Oliver Sacks dying was upsetting to me because I was sort of, dreading it. But I came across a cute little thing in the New York Times today about him. I mean, I talked about him so much the other day. But listen to this. He did make an effort to be a research scientist. By the way, he's the one, when he was at Oxford or something and he was majoring in neuroscience or whatever.
Well, he was dropping acid right and left.
Well, he wasn't doing that. He was just still in his drinking stage. There's some illustrious award that you take a special test for to get. And the test was being given at that moment. Somebody saw him in the pub and said, "Hey, Oliver, why aren't you taking the exam?" And he said in his drunken state, "Oh, yeah, I forgot." And so he was then placing like near the bottom of his class. He stumbles over to where it is and goes in late. And there were like something like 5 or 6 questions that had to be answered. He started in on the first one and finished up and brought it up to the head, the proctor or something, and walks back out without having answered the other 5. He won the award. I mean, I guess whatever he said in that one answer was so impressive that he blew everybody away in a total drunken stupor. So anyway, so to be a researcher, he says he was no good. He accidentally once dropped hamburger into a centrifuge.
Yeah, the thing that I read, so they begged him to leave.
Really.
He was just destroying everything in his path.
And then the funniest thing, he became so attached to experimental chicken number 4304 that he couldn't. You have to kill these things.
Right.
He couldn't do it. So that's when he knew he could. Why? I wonder what it was about 4304 that.
Just the way she looked at him.
I don't know, but there's that one chicken, and he there was some connection made, some cross-species connected, but he just couldn't do it. And even as a doctor, he did things that he would have been in terrible trouble for. He once sneaked a woman who was direly ill with multiple sclerosis out of the hospital to take her for a motorcycle ride. I love this guy. So his headmaster once said about him, "Sax will go far if he doesn't go too far."
Well, he managed to be most beloved, which is improbable for a man in his field.
Yes, and a man of such brilliance, and he was so human, so just out there. Oh God. So speaking of not being able to remember names, Susan.
Yes.
What is the tallest mountain in North America?
Oh, well, it ain't McKinley anymore.
Yeah, but what is it?
It's something does something la. Does something la. And what is it?
Does something Lee. Denali.
Denali, okay.
And yet again, this president, who thinks he's some kind of a Führer, just with a stroke of a pen, taking Mount McKinley, that has been there for eons, even if it wasn't called Mount McKinley, and in fact was called Denali.
Denali.
Yes.
And McKinley didn't care, and it's not really part of his heritage, and it does point out the history of the region. What I think is interesting is everybody in Alaska is all for it.
That's true.
So whose business, who else's business? It's in their state. It's theirs.
The Republicans are freaking out about it, even though the one of their own Republican, what's her name? What's her name? Murkowski?
McCloskey?
Murkowski. No, that Mikulski is the Baltimore little gnome-like woman.
Right.
Murkowski is the Alaskan senator Republican.
Oh, okay.
Who said, "I'd like to thank the president for this significant change, which shows honor, respect, and gratitude to the Athabascan people of Alaska." Okay, but her fellow Republicans are going insane. And I just have this. What do you know about McKinley? What are any facts you know about McKinley?
I don't know nothing about McKinley.
Did you know he was assassinated?
Yes.
Was he the first president assassinated since Lincoln? I believe. And by all accounts, he wasn't a bad guy. And I give you this. This is from the New York Sun. In any event, let us raise a salute to William McKinley. From his front porch in 1896, he ran one of the most remarkable campaigns in American history, defeating the Democrat William Jennings Bryan, who ran for the free coinage of silver, a campaign of inflation by attacking the Jews. It was one of the few anti-Semitic campaigns in American history. McKinley defeated it handily and gained passage in 1900 of the Gold Standard Act, which set the stage for the great boom of the 20th century. It's a monument as majestic as the peak of Denali. So, I mean, apparently there's something to remember him for. And other than this mountain peak he never saw and had nothing...
Had really nothing to do with them.
But who knew? So he defeated the Democrat, this anti-Semite knuckle-dragger, William Jennings Bryan, who was, what else was he? Tell me if I'm wrong about this. He was the one who argued in the Scopes trial against Clarence Darrow. And
against evolution.
Against evolution.
So your knuckle-dragging reference was really...
Pun intended.
Yeah, even if it wasn't.
And my...
Even if your brain was making it before your brain got it.
That's true, Susan. Too clever by half. So, yeah, and so William Jennings Bryan, who, by the way, I believe Darrow humiliated him on the stand because he actually had Bryan take the stand. This is something I knew, then forgot, and then was reminded the other day when I happened to watch part of an episode of Drunk History.
Which is everybody's favorite way to get their history.
It is. You learn so many things. It's amazing. But I'd also just seen, maybe about 3 months ago, happened to watch, is it Inherit the Wind? Is that the movie made about the Scopes trial?
Yeah.
And in the movie, too, Scopes, yeah, so exactly. William Jennings Bryan ends up on the stand, and Darrow gets him so tied in knots. It's wonderful. I mean, it's worth seeing for those of you who don't remember it. But anyway, so who knew? I didn't know. I knew he was for that gold standard and all that. I mean, the silver standard. But I didn't know he managed to run that by probably saying it was the gold standard
to steal
was
all the money.
Yeah,
right.
the gold standard was probably some Jewish plot.
Right.
So, but I didn't know anything about this in 1896. That was that the Democrats ran a just totally anti-Semite campaign. So let's hear it for William McKinley, who was born right near here, 60 miles to the west.
So who killed him and why?
That's a good question. Who killed McKinley?
I'm woefully ignorant.
I think it was an anarchist. Is that the guy whose name was CZ? some Eastern European anarchist? Or am I thinking of... Who am I thinking of? Yep. Celine is on it. Celine, what is it? Who killed him?
Lenin... I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, but is it a bunch of consonants? Leon, right? Or Leon an anarchist.
Died from gangrene.
He died from gangrene that set in afterwards.
Right.
Okay.
That part I remember.
Is that the one that he killed in Chicago?
Temple of Music on the grounds in Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. Okay. What do I know? Somebody got killed in Chicago. More than one.
I think it was a criminal.
No. There was a attempt on the mayor's life, and maybe the mayor got killed, but some presidential... I think it was around the same time. When those anarchists were all over the place.
Right.
And here, about the same time, they tried to kill Frick, Emma Goldman's lover, who was an idiot, tried to kill Henry Clay Frick here, and, got into his office and just stood there with a gun going bang, 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 and still couldn't kill him. I don't know. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
I haven't the foggiest, and here's where I'm happy to say it's your show.
Dang. Well, okay.
Are we talking about the Supreme Court ordering that woman to start issuing licenses, and she still refuses?
Oh, is she still refusing? Okay, so this idiot clerk in where? Kentucky? Where the hell is she?
Virginia, I think.
Virginia, wherever the hell she is. But she's a Christian lady, and she doesn't care who says it. The latest person who said it is, I think, Justice Sotomayor or Kagan. One of the justices said, case closed, hey lady, blah, 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 blah. And if she doesn't, she was either facing what? Huge fines or jail,
monetary fines, or both.
So she's gonna be a martyr.
She's a martyr to the cause, and she's refusing. I don't get what part about if you don't want to do the job, step down. You don't get to hijack the position.
No. Is that
there's just a basic problem with her stance.
Yeah. But she doesn't see that. Is this an elected position, I wonder?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so the people chose her, is what? And she said maybe and only the people can... I bet the people are behind her, too. Well, what are they going to do? They got to take her away. They got to... You mean, if you're elected, nobody can get rid of you?
Well, sometimes that's actually the case. If there aren't rules in place for removal, you're just stuck till the next election.
But meanwhile, I guess, so she's not issuing any marriage licenses.
I think so.
So she can't be accused of what? Just...
But she's refusing to carry out the duties of her job. Doesn't matter whether she's discriminating or not. She refuses to do her job, and she refuses to allow the other people in the office to do the job. So she's hijacked the office.
And is openly defying the Supreme Court and the laws of the Constitution.
And every court leading up to it.
So I have to do this pub quiz around legal questions.
Yeah.
And so we've been this is going to be for the ACLU. We've been ferreting around for questions, and it's interesting the stuff you learn. Which founding father didn't sign the Declaration of Independence? I'll give you 3 possibilities. Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams. One of those 3 did not sign the Constitution.
John Adams.
You say Adams, Celine says Franklin, and the answer is Jefferson! Who knew? And I don't even know what the reason is.
He probably just wasn't there.
I mean, I was thinking all those signatures we know, those are on the Declaration of Independence. Maybe that's what I meant. No, I didn't, because he's... I don't know. Okay, who was one of the delegates from Pennsylvania who had a peg leg? Huh? Nobody knows?
God, I can even picture him.
Yeah, you can.
Because he's in the musical.
1776.
Yeah.
Does he dance?
I think so. But I can't, I don't know.
Governor Morris was his name. But it was spelled...
Okay, well, I'm here
That's
to
not
tell you that I didn't forget that. I never knew that. Go ahead.
Okay. Now let me think of some others. I don't know. I can't think of any.
So you're boning up here.
Yeah. How many years have women had the right to vote?
No, not very many.
That's right. Yeah,
I think it 111 or something, 114, something like that.
It'd be 115 since they got the vote in 1920.
You know, they got the vote the year that our grandmother was born, so that was 1901.
No. They got, not till 1920.
Oh, not till 1920.
She was 19. She was 19.
She was 19.
So it's been 115 years. That's it.
No. If they got the vote in 19...
Okay, 114. What? It's 2015.
Right.
That's 80 plus 15. Just what I said. 95.
Okay, my head's exploded. You were 20 years off. Okay, go ahead.
It's 95.
Right.
Less than 100 years, for God's sake.
You said 115.
I know. I was wrong. Math was never a strong suit, as you know.
Yeah, that is an important fact to remember. That our parents, a lot of our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents were alive when women didn't vote.
Yeah. So, since we knew our grandmother very well, that puts us very close to that history. In fact, women didn't get the vote until just 2 years before our mother was born.
Right.
Wow. So, Roger says that if he were the clerk of courts, his religious faith would not allow him to give marriage certificates to stupid, superstitious people who will make lots of babies. All right, well, you're not. Margie's telling me to talk about the Pope and abortion. I have to tell you, I did not see this.
Well, I think what he's saying
said
is
that you can be absolved.
That it is a forgivable.
Right. It can literally be, rather than the way it's been, is you had an abortion, you were excommunicated. He's saying if you had an abortion, you can confess it at confession, and that's the end of it. And the same goes for divorce and all that other stuff. He's saying, forget about it. Why are you laughing?
Because in a snap of his fingers, he's
like Obama. He's like Obama. Who's Obama think he is? The Pope? Hey, you know what I saw? I saw something, and I can't figure out where I saw it, that Obama, everybody's saying we're so far behind the Russians. The Russians are like staking out the Arctic, right?
Right.
Okay, and we are so far behind that Obama's now saying some icebreaker that we were building for 2025 or something, he's moving it up to 2020. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I thought Obama's going to Alaska to talk about the dangers to the environment, and yet we're going to now get into this race to
further defile the Arctic.
That is correct, because this rush to claim the Arctic is the rush that humans have done forever, which has led to the destruction of our globe. They're talking about going in and getting the oil and getting the minerals and doing the this and the that. Now that we've so screwed things up that all the ice is melting, so we can actually get in to continue our raping and pillaging of Mother Earth. I mean, what kind of... And yet, the idea of the Russians, the idea of the Russians being up there with their sensitivities to environmental issues, and it's not like we can let it go unchallenged. We've learned nothing, is I guess what I'm saying, right? Have we learned anything?
No, we've learned nothing. I mean, all we hear is we're behind the Russians and we're off and running.
We're behind the Russians in raping and pillaging the last frontier. And it is accessible because of our prior raping and pillaging, which has resulted in global warming, which is melting the ice cap totally. But, the Russians are getting so scary again, so bellicose, so willing to snatch property that's not theirs and things that aren't theirs, that it's a little troublesome to think. Sarah Palin can see Russia from her window, and that's awful close. And if that's the area that we're going to be, competing with them over,
Yeah.
Right.
And it's all happening because the Arctic's melting.
Yeah.
And therefore becoming accessible.
That is correct. And it's melting because we made it melt.
Right.
Mike from D.C. says, where's Jared Day when you need him? We need a historian today. Everything from McKinley to, I don't know, to yeah. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Labor Day is when my allergies kick in. And since we're almost there. So, Susan.
Sounds pitiful.
I know. So, we've managed thus far to have a show.
About absolutely nothing.
I know, and I'm very proud of us, actually.
Oh, good. Yeah, we can talk about it, anything and nothing for at least an hour.
Well, I don't know. We got 8 more minutes.
Oh, no. I do this by never knowing what time it is.
Oh, man. Let me think.
I suppose I could look at a newspaper.
No, don't worry about it. So do you think Hillary is... I think she's in real trouble, actually.
I think she's in real trouble because Here's the problem with Hillary. No one really wanted
No one
her in
likes
the
her.
first place.
Yeah, no one really.
No one. There's no one that's sort of passionate about Hillary.
No. I guess there are some, but I don't know anybody.
I don't know any of them.
I don't
you know,
either.
and I'd vote for her, but I wasn't going to vote for her with, oh my God, you know.
I know.
And just having the first woman president isn't
That's not
actually
it.
a good enough reason.
No, it's not.
You know, so I don't know. But when I see Dick Cheney just, salivating over the notion of a Joe Biden run, it almost makes me want Joe to run.
Yeah, but if Cheney's salivating, it means he thinks that...
He thinks he can beat him. Yeah, but this is,
But Biden is at least what the people seem to be clamoring for, in that he seems like a regular person, even if he is a politician. You know what? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons
guy.
He's a regular guy. Definitely a guy you want to have a beer with.
Right.
But
except that he's got all that stuff where, he gets creepy sometimes and
touchy-feely. He can't help it. He just is a toucher.
He is. He's a nice guy.
Well, I know that's true. I mean, I've said this. I know there's like 1 degree of separation there that I totally trust the source, with my friend spending so much time with him, doing a profile on him. Went to Italy with him, hung out around his old home and all this stuff. And she said he is the nicest guy you'd ever want to know, and is just smart as hell. He's got so much going on in his head all the time. And he's sort of like, made me think of your puppy. He sort of like bounds from place to place,
Right.
He's like
yes,
Tigger.
I now see people like crossing the street to get away from me when I'm walking.
No, why would somebody cross the street to get away from a puppy?
Because they have a dog, and because my dog is so irrepressible. He's a puppy, he jumps all over their dogs and wants to play.
But I thought he did well in puppy school the other day about not jumping.
He did, but that's in the real world. It doesn't work as well.
Well, in class he can do it because there's a treat on the
Although
street.
I've taken to walking with treats, believe me.
Yeah, well, I think you
I
should.
would like you to know that I am currently sporting absolutely no Band-Aids, and and I don't even look like an intravenous drug user anymore. Everything's sort of healing. For a while, I really did. I felt like a little 5-year-old who liked, Band-Aids. I had them everywhere.
You can always tell people who have kittens or puppies. Their hands and their arms are usually pretty well damaged. And actually, speaking of animals in your house, I happened to bend down to get some. It was a newspaper off my bedroom floor today, and saw a huge pile of fossilized puke. It was wonderful. If I'd seen it when it was not fossilized, it would have been a real mess. But as it were,
you could just pick it up like
I
a
could just
potato
pick
chip.
it up. I know. It was like totally ossified.
Just so you all know what kind of a housekeeper Lynn is.
I've even been known to let obvious cat puke, I think I've said this, like on the living room carpet. I've left it to bake in the sun and, so that I can't. It's easier to get up. And you just tell people who are coming into the house, watch out, there's a, drying vomit there. And there's another one right around the corner. When you live with animals, what are you going to do?
I don't know. It's like I gave the dog one of the gardens because I feel like he needs a place to call his own.
To dig and bury things and they do. You can't take them into your life and then tell them to be humans.
Well, you can. It just doesn't work very well. So this is what we're going to do, 8 minutes on my puppy?
No, I think we're going to just call it a day.
Okay.
Because I do have a few other subjects, but they're all bummers, and, I'd rather talk about your puppy, believe me. So I think, I do think that's it. And since it is almost, let's assume I had advertising. The advertising would have made up the rest of this.
Right.
So we did it. We filled the hole.
Okay, well, I think we should get a Go-funded site for you to buy that house.
But you
I'll
should
send in $10.
Yeah, you should see this house. Someone's going to grab that thing up. There is no way someone ain't scarfing that up. Or even an organization. Or whatever. I can't believe it. If you were to show that house to somebody like in San Francisco and tell them what it was going for, they might lose their minds.
Wow.
They might become unhinged.
Yeah, location.
All
Okay.
right. Well, Susan, on with your day, and we're on with ours.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a million.
And you too.
Bye. All right, you guys, that's it. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.